I sponsored my roommate, who came from a low-income family, for 3 years. On the very day she was offered a spot through the direct admission program, she knelt down in front of me in public. I've already cheated on your behalf to help you get a guaranteed admission spot. So please stop threatening me with the financial aid issue. My brother also spoke up to accuse me. You're always using your family background to bully Jessen, and I just can't stand it anymore. As a result, my enrollment was revoked, and I was expelled from school. I was also run over and killed by a radical netizen who had been incited by his roommate. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in my freshman year of high school. Wang Jessen was lying face down on her dorm bed, crying while holding her tuition bill. What should I do? My family really has no money left, and I really want to go to school. A cacophony of whimpering reached my ears, that sickening, loathsome sound I'll never forget for the rest of my life. I looked at the figure next to me, who was crying with her head on the table, and felt such intense loathing that I wanted nothing more than to rush over and strangle her right then and there. Wang Jessen, my roommate who receives financial aid. In our previous life, we were assigned to the same dorm room. I saw her crying with her head on the desk, and when I asked her what was wrong, I found out she hadn't paid her tuition and had absolutely no way to cover her living expenses. I feel for her, pity her, and sympathize with her. She's the same age as me, yet she has to worry about money. At that age, she was very concerned about her appearance. Seeing her in her tattered clothes, with hair that had become dry and frizzy due to malnutrition, I was overcome with compassion and gave her some of my own living expenses so she could go to school without worry. Not only did I cover her tuition, but I also covered her living expenses. My parents give me 10,000 yuan a month for living expenses, and I send Wang Jessen 3,000 yuan every month. In addition, he often buys her meals and daily necessities. I thought of her as my best friend. But she skipped class to learn how to smoke and even hung out with some troublemakers from outside school. His grades were so poor that he failed several courses. I had a serious heart-to-heart talk with her, urging her to cut ties with that troublemaker, and even offered to help her with her schoolwork, or find her a tutor. But she mocked me, calling me a do-gooder and saying I was jealous of her and that thug. I felt utterly helpless, so I had no choice but to respect other circumstances and casually reduce the monthly allowance from 3,000 to 2,000. Even though it's 1,000 less, 2,000 is still quite a lot for a high school student. I never expected that. Even though Wang Jessen didn't say anything on the surface, she had long since come to hate me with a passion. As the saying goes, a bowl of rice brings gratitude, but a bowl more brings resentment. After I was admitted through a special recommendation, she openly posted about it online. She reported me for cheating on an exam and even created a PowerPoint presentation that was over 10 pages long, claiming that I had bullied her throughout my 3 years of high school and treated her like a dog. As a result, I lost my spot in the university's direct admission program and was subjected to online harassment, while Wang Jessen happily took advantage of the attention to host live streams and collect virtual gifts. In the end, I was run over and killed by one of her diehard fans, but she still goes live every day to feast on my blood-soaked buns. My parents were heartbroken over my death. As for my brother, when I was falsely accused, he stepped forward on his own to defend Wang Jessen, thereby confirming the allegations that I had bullied her. After I died, he didn't care at all. When I think about how 3 years of financial support led to my untimely death, it makes my blood boil. My brother Wang Ji, my roommate Wang Jiaxin, every single one of them, I won't let any of them off the hook. The sound of crying grew louder and louder. At that moment, Wang Jessen and I were the only 2 people in the dorm room. In my past life, I was too naive. I didn't think things through. Now that I think about it, wasn't Wang Jessen just crying on purpose to get my attention? She knew I had money, so she deliberately cried in front of me to win my sympathy. I put on my headphones and ignored her voice. To my surprise, she started crying even harder, getting louder and louder as if she wanted to cry through a megaphone. I got up impatiently and left the dorm room without even glancing at her. It wasn't until just before lights out that I returned to the dorm. By then, My roommates Chenfang and Lu Hong were both standing beside her, comforting her, their faces full of concern. I climbed silently into my bed and drew the bed curtains. Chenfang and Lu Hong were both comforting Wang Jessen, telling her not to panic and that she could apply for financial assistance. Of course Wang Jessen can apply for financial aid. But will it come as quickly as it does from a sucker like me? And will it be as generous as what a sucker like me provides? Perhaps she knew all this from a past life, which is why she deliberately played the victim in front of me. I put on my headphones, ignored it, and just closed my eyes and went to sleep. Early the next morning, I walked into the classroom and, as soon as I entered, saw Wang Jessen slumped over her desk, sobbing. I ignored everything and sat down at my seat. After a while, she walked over and patted me on the shoulder. Hui, could you please help me out? I'm busy, I said, turning my head away to ignore her. Her eyes were red, her lips pursed, and she looked as if she were about to cry, a truly pitiful sight. Wang Jessen is very frail and quite pretty. She always looks as if she needs someone to take care of her. Sure enough, people around her immediately spoke up to defend her. Wang Hui, do you have to be so cold? All she did was ask for your help. You didn't even ask what kind of help she needed. Why are you being so cold? The speaker was Huang Lei, the jock in the class who had a secret crush on Wang Jessen. Seeing someone speak up for her, Wang Jessen's eyes lit up. I raised an eyebrow at Huang Lei and said, "Then you help her." "Then? She didn't ask me for help, she asked you." Huang Lei rolled his eyes. I chuckled. "So what's your name? If you're so eager to help, why don't you go help her?" Huang Lei was being propped up by me, which was a blow to his pride. He steeled himself and looked at Lu Jessen. "Jessen, whatever you need help with, I'll definitely do it for you." "Two don't need your help," Wang Jessen said softly. Huang Lei awkwardly scratched the back of his head, momentarily at a loss for words. I burst out laughing. "I don't want you to stick your nose into my business. Maybe this is something only a girl can do." Huang Lei is still speaking up for Wang Jessen. I was getting a little impatient, so I looked at Wang Jessen and said, "What's this all about?" Just as Wang Jessen was about to speak, the bell rang to signal the start of class. She quickly said, "Let's talk about it at dinner." After saying that, she went back to her seat without another word. All morning, Wang Jessen had been watching me, whether intentionally or not, and sizing me up. It wasn't until lunchtime that she couldn't resist sitting down next to me. Hui, I heard from someone that you get 10,000 a month for living expenses. Is that true? What's wrong? I raised an eyebrow and looked at her, asking, "Who told you that?" "I heard it from someone else. 2. I can't afford my tuition and living expenses. Could you lend me some money? Both my parents are disabled, and our family has no source of income. We usually make a living by collecting scrap. If I can't go to school, there's no way I'll be able to change my fate." As Wang Jessen spoke, her eyes welled up with tears, and she looked very pitiful. She looked at me with a mixture of anticipation and a pitiful expression, hoping I would give her the answer she wanted. To my surprise, I just kept eating, my face expressionless, and said, "Oh, so what? What does it matter to me if your family is poor?" Wang Jessen never expected me to say that. Her eyes widened, and tears instantly welled up in her eyes. I just Wang Jessen stammered, unable to find the words. I said again, "Go on. What does it matter to me that your family is poor? If I lend you the money, when will you be able to pay me back?" "I'll pay you back as soon as I have the money," Wang Jessen said quickly. I chuckled and said dismissively, "When are you ever going to have any money?" The students around us gathered in a crowd. When Huang Lei saw his crush looking upset, he hurried over and glared at me. "Why are you picking on Jessen again?" Huang Lei looked every bit the knight in shining armor. Wang Jessen's eyes grew even redder, and 2 perfectly timed tears trickled down her cheeks. I said, "She just told me she doesn't have any money for tuition or living expenses, and she's asking to borrow some from me." "Huh, don't your parents give you any money?" the people around them whispered. Wang Jessen's face flushed. But she steeled herself and said, "My parents are out of money. So I just wanted to borrow some from Xiaohui. I'll pay her back as soon as my parents send the money next month." But who knew she'd? Maybe she looks down on me after all. My family really is pretty poor. His dramatic remarks elicited a great deal of sympathy from those around him. Huang Lei looked at me with righteous indignation. "You get so much spending money every month, what's wrong with lending her a little? Don't be so cold-hearted. I never flaunt my wealth, but my mom always gives me the best. So my clothes, shoes, bags, and makeup are all designer brands, and I have the latest model of a cell phone, too. My mom used to say that girls should be raised in luxury. So she's always pampered me, and that is precisely why Wang Jiesin had the opportunity to come to me for financial support." I looked at Huang Lei and raised an eyebrow, saying, "Since you're so kind, why don't you sponsor her?" Huang Lei didn't expect me to say that. He paused for a moment, then said, "I don't have as much money as you do. Even the crumbs that fall from your table are enough for her to spend. We're classmates, why be so stingy?" "Exactly. It's not like they're not going to pay it back. Everyone goes through tough times." Some people around me were murmuring in agreement. But there were also people speaking at a normal volume. "If you're really struggling, you can apply for financial aid, or get a part-time job at the cafeteria. No matter how rich they are, it's their money, why should they give it to you?" Quite a few people are speaking up for me. Wang Jiesin quickly said, "I was too forward. I'm sorry. What's going on?" A familiar voice called out from behind the crowd. My older brother, Wang Ji, pushed his way out of the crowd, looked at me curiously, and asked with his eyes what was going on. Just seeing him makes me sick. I hate him just as much as Wang Jiesin does. In a past life, he personally confirmed that I had bullied Wang Jiesin, which led to my death at the hands of netizens. My parents were devastated by my unexpected death and passed away shortly afterward. After I died, my soul lingered on Earth for 7 days. And then I found out that he had actually started seeing Wang Jiesin. The reason he helped Wang Jiesin was because he liked her. Wang Jiesin's condition for being with him was that he help her give false testimony. Most importantly, he overheard my parents saying that I was a better student and more capable, and that the company might one day pass the business on to me, making him a manager or vice chairman. He harbored a grudge against me, against my parents, and after I died, he deliberately told my parents every day how terribly I had died. My parents couldn't handle the blow, which is why they both fell ill. After that, he hired an unreliable caregiver who mistreated them, which is what led to their early deaths. When I saw him, I wanted nothing more than to devour him and flay him alive. Sure enough, as soon as he saw Wang Jiesin, his eyes lit up. In my past life, I didn't know when they'd fallen for each other, but in this life right now I do. "What's wrong?" Wang Ji asked. After everyone around us had chimed in with their versions of the story, Wang Ji looked at me and said, "You make so much money every month, what's the big deal about giving her a little? To you, that's just the price of a pair of shoes." "Hey, sis, what did mom and dad always teach you? To help others whenever you can." Wang Ji spoke with a solemn, self-righteous air, leaving those around him stunned. Wang Jiesin was taken aback as well, and after a long pause, she said, "Are you brother and sister?" "Yeah. Doesn't it look like it?" Wang Ji smiled at her. Wang Jiesin slipped back into her pitiful demeanor. "I'm sorry. Two was too forward." "Oh well, if she won't send it, I'll send it. Just send it to me on WeChat." With a flick of his wrist, Wang Ji added Wang Jiesin on WeChat and transferred 5,000 yuan to her. The students around him gasped in unison, stunned by his immense wealth. I saw a faint smile playing on Wang Jiesin's lips, and immediately exclaimed in delight, "That's too much, big brother. I don't need that many. Here, just take it. If you ever run into trouble, let me know, I'll help you out," Wang Zhihao said with great confidence. All the classmates around him looked on with envy. I glanced at Wang Zhi, then got up and left. After returning to the dorm, I went to see the advisor and citing a poor relationship with my roommate. Immediately switched dorm rooms. I certainly don't want to be that close to Wang Jessen. Wang Jessen used a little charm to get my brother to willingly support her. Although she resents me for not helping her, she hasn't taken any major action so far. I studied as hard as I could. Even though I knew that with my grades, I would eventually be admitted without having to take the entrance exam, but the process of working hard is enjoyable. I got a high score on another monthly exam, and my teacher praised me in front of the class. I saw Wang Jessen let out a dismissive little snort. Ever since Wang Ji started supporting her, her life has become increasingly comfortable. Designer clothes, cosmetics, and handbags. She has almost everything I have. Wang Ji told his family that he was in a relationship and asked for more spending money, almost all of which he spent on Lu Jessen. Now that Lu Jessen had Wang Ji as her sucker, she became less and less serious about her studies and started skipping class to go online. I've also caught her smoking in the restroom several times. When I walked out of the school gates during the break, I saw her acting intimately with a street thug. And she even got into his ghost fire and headed to a hotel. After taking a photo to keep as a memento, I studied even harder, tuning out everything going on around me. I consistently rank in the top 3 in my grade on every monthly exam, while Wang Ji's grades have dropped significantly. He's a senior, and I'm a freshman. We go to the same school, so it's not hard to find out about him. But Wang Ji didn't care at all. He brazenly claimed that his parents would leave the company to him anyway, so he didn't need to study at all. But he doesn't know yet that his parents gave up on him their good-for-nothing son a long time ago. The 3 years of high school flew by, and throughout that time, Wang Jessen was in a relationship with Wang Ji. She never gave me any trouble. It was as if she didn't even know me. Just when I thought she was just looking for some sucker to support her and that it didn't matter who that sucker was, and she had completely forgotten that I'd turned her down back then, something happened. A PowerPoint presentation more than 10 pages long has been circulating online, accusing me by name of cheating and claiming that I was admitted through a special admission program because my parents bribed the school. When I saw that familiar wording and those accusations, I realized Wang Jessen was behind it all. But I don't get it. I haven't done anything to upset her this lifetime. So why is she still giving me a hard time? Just like in my past life, I was targeted in an online smear campaign. Netizens tracked down my address and sent wreaths and urns to my home. The video in this PowerPoint presentation has already garnered over 1 million views. My dad immediately contacted the legal department, which is in charge of clarifying the situation and handling public relations. The matter had already been mostly cleared up, but then a video suddenly surfaced. I clicked on the video and saw that it was a video my brother had posted, holding his ID card. I am filing a formal complaint under my real name against my sister, Wang Hui, for cheating on an exam and fraudulently obtaining a direct admission spot. There is corruption involved in the direct admission process. When I saw this video, my vision went black. I was so furious I wanted to kill that pair of bastards right then and there. In order to make Wang Jessen happy, Wang Ji still went so far as to spread rumors and give false testimony to frame me. I'm his own little sister. After all, this incident caused quite a stir, and netizens were all criticizing me, saying my brother did the right thing by putting justice before family ties. Wang Ji continued to post videos in a hypocritical tone, claiming that the college entrance exam is the fairest thing there is, and saying that if the rich were to steal the poor's chance to defy fate and change their lives, they would be struck by lightning. As my older brother, he had to step in and stop what I was doing. I recorded and saved all of these videos. Netizens who didn't know the full story were quick to praise Wang Ji for his kindness, insulting me while praising him at the same time. He and Wang Jessen even went live on a streaming platform, claiming that I bullied Wang Jessen and often picked on her. Wang Jessen spoke to the camera, tears streaming down her face, explaining that even though they were siblings, there was such a huge gap between them. Overnight, the two gained a massive following and started making money through live streams. I recorded everything they said in the live stream and saved it. It will serve as the strongest evidence later on. When my parents found out about this, they were furious, afraid my parents wouldn't believe me. I told them about my past life as if it were just a dream. I also wanted them to be on their guard against Wang Shi and see his true colors sooner. We treated him like family, but to him, we were nothing more than a hindrance. When they heard me say that they intended to have me take over the company, Mom and Dad exchanged a glance, completely taken aback. My mom quickly cupped the jade pendant hanging around her neck with both hands and said, "It seems heaven has intervened. Xiao Hui really has been given the ability to foresee the future. Your brother is lazy and good for nothing. He doesn't study as hard as you do, and he doesn't have your personality. We've long intended for you to take over the company. As for your brother, we'll just give him a cushy position in the future." But I never thought he'd be so cruel to his own little sister, spreading rumors and giving false testimony. I can't believe he'd do something like that. My dad was so angry he kept coughing. I called Wang Ji, but he refused to answer. He's still showing off his romance with Wang Jessen in his livestream every day, while taking the opportunity to slander me. I earned my spot in the direct admission program by winning an award at the Science Olympiad. She accused me of cheating, which is a very serious matter. If I had actually cheated and still been admitted, it would have implicated a lot of people. Because this incident caused such a stir online, the school told me to stay home and rest for a while. I haven't been sitting around doing nothing lately either. I hired a private investigator to look into Wang Jessen. As I looked at the photos the detective had sent back, a smile played on my lips. On my mom's birthday, Wang Ji brought Wang Jessen home. When she saw our luxurious mansion, a calculating gleam flashed in Wang Jessen's eyes. When they saw Wang Jessen, my parents naturally didn't look too pleased. Both my mom and dad had stern expressions on their faces. Wang Jessen was helping herself to the fruit on the table, clearly acting like the lady of the house. Wang Zhixian spoke up first. "Mom and Dad, I'm going to marry Jessen. You're getting married when you're just a freshman in college, and to someone who spread rumors about your sister online," my dad said in disbelief. Wang Ji held his head high and said, "She didn't spread rumors about Xiao Hui. How could Xiao Hui have been recommended for admission? She must have cheated. Besides, I saw her bullying Jessen with my own eyes before. You ungrateful brat. She's your sister, didn't you know what she's like? You're actually happy that she's being slammed all over the internet." My mom was so angry her voice was trembling. Wang Ji nonchalantly took Wang Jessen's hand and said with a blissful expression, "Mom and Dad, I won't marry anyone but Jiaxin's the woman I love most. You're just a freshman, what do you know about true love?" My mom slumped down on the couch, a look of exasperation on her face. "I don't approve of you two getting married," my dad said coldly. "If you insist on marrying her, I'll disown you." "Humph. Why should I? Just because she's a good student. Does that mean you all favor her more? I'm the eldest son in this family." Wang Ji was so angry that the veins in his neck bulged. Mom looked at him disappointedly. "You weren't like this when you were little. We love you and your little sister, both my children. But you've been spreading rumors about Xiaohui online and causing her to be cyberbullied. Do you still consider her your sister?" "I don't have a sister like that. Anyway, since you won't let me marry Jessen, we'll just elope," Wang Ji said firmly. "Do whatever you want. I'm not giving you another penny. You're a father, know if you're capable. Earn your own money," my dad said coldly. Wang Jessen glanced at me, her eyes brimming with smug satisfaction. Wang Ji pulled her along and snapped, "Remember what I said today. Don't ever count on me coming back to this house again." After saying that, he grabbed Wang Jessen's hand and stormed off. After the two of them left, they began to smear me even more brazenly online. Wang Ji even made up a story about my parents favoring girls over boys, claiming that he had a very hard time at home. He also said that since he had chosen Wang Jessen, he would definitely take responsibility, and the two of them would stand together against the whole world. Watching the two of them play off each other, I just found it pretty funny, and they're even taking on the whole world. Who told them to do that? Fortunately, Mom and Dad aren't planning to hand the company over to him. Otherwise, with his foolish mind, he'd just run the company into the ground. It wasn't until the situation had blown up a bit that I uploaded all my thought processes from when I was working on the problems. along with the actual surveillance footage of the two of them losing their tempers at us in the villa. There are also photos of my brother and me from when we were little through to now, from trips our parents took us on, our birthdays, and Children's Day, whatever I had. My brother had too, which is proof enough that he grew up in a loving environment. I compiled all this material into a PowerPoint presentation and sent it out, tagging Wang Xi and Wang Jiasen. One stone sent ripples through the water. And netizens on both sides were thoroughly enjoying the spectacle. Because the whole thing caused such a stir, Wang Jiasen found it difficult to do well on her exams. So she simply dropped out of school and didn't even take the college entrance exam. But she probably doesn't need it anymore after all. In her eyes, she's about to marry into a wealthy family and become a rich wife. But her plan is likely to fall through, since I had arranged to meet Wang Xi. He gave me a cold stare as we sat in the coffee shop. Don't think I don't know Mom and Dad have been planning to leave the company to you for a long time. I was a little surprised. I thought it would be at least a few more months before he could overhear his parents' conversation. But I didn't expect him to find out so soon. But that's okay, let's just come clean, I said. Who Mom and Dad decide to give the company to is a matter for the future. And it's entirely up to them. What future? I've already given you the company, what future do I have left? Wang Xi was getting a little worked up. As the son and the eldest son of the family, he believed he was rightfully entitled to inherit the company. Little do they know that the company also has the right to choose. It will select whoever is more capable and has stronger leadership skills. Besides, Mom and Dad have already made the arrangements. They want me to give Wang Xi a low-key position with a high salary. He doesn't have to work day and night. Nor does he have to deal with too much pressure. What he didn't know was that I had already started getting involved with the company's operations. It was just that, since I was still in school, I couldn't start working there right away. But my parents have long been grooming me to take over the company. Our parents have already taken care of everything, the car and the husi, so all we have to do is follow the plan they've laid out for us. But he insisted that this was a sign that his parents didn't love him. This realization made him hate me. He believed I was the one who had taken everything away. On top of that, he was deeply in love with Wang Jiasen, which made him hate me with a passion. I looked at him and laughed. Are you really going to marry Wang Jiasen? Do you have a problem? What exactly do you want to say? If you don't say it, I'm leaving. Wang Xi made a move to get up and leave, so I placed a stack of photos in front of him. Take a look, I said. Wang Xi sat down, looking skeptical, and flipped through the photos. His face grew darker and darker. That's because it contains intimate photos of Wang Jiasen and a small-time thug, as well as some photos of them going to a hotel. No man would tolerate his partner cheating on him. Wang Xi was so furious that both his hands were shaking, his lips trembling. He cursed. You bitch. Did you know all along that she was cheating? Wang Xi glared at me with such intensity, gritting his teeth as if he wanted to kill me. I shrugged and said, I took it by accident. You can look it up yourself. After saying that, I got up and left. Wang Xi is a very emotionally unstable person. I thought he was going to confront Wang Jiasen, give her a good scolding, and then break up with her. To my surprise, Wang Xi didn't do that. Instead, he treated Wang Jiasen even better. But when you think about it, Wang Xi is exactly that kind of devious person. By acting this way, he must be up to something. When his parents stopped giving Wang Xi money for living expenses, he dropped out of school right away and used the money he had saved up to rent an apartment off campus with Wang Jiasen. Two people spread rumors about me online, but my PowerPoint presentation shut them down. Netizens have been calling on them to come forward and explain, but neither of them has responded. My spot in the direct admission program remains unchanged, with Wang Jiasen and Wang Xi gone from school. My days have become much more relaxed and pleasant, mainly because I no longer have to see those two faces I can't stand. My private investigator is still tailing Wang Jiasen, and I've discovered that she's still hanging out with small-time thugs. The photos taken were unsightly. At the same time, I also hired another team of private investigators to keep an eye on Wang Xi. I don't believe he'll give up just like that. Sure enough, he began to make a move. I had thought that, at most, he'd go home to beg his parents for help. Or maybe sneak back to steal something valuable to sell. But none of us expected that. Wang Zhihui went home and stole his parents' proposal. Then defected to a rival company. When Dad heard the news, he nearly fainted from anger. Fortunately, that proposal was just a preliminary draft, and it didn't touch on the company's true core business. After this incident, my parents became even more disappointed, and Wang Zhio could even say they were cold toward him. Instead of calling the police, they chose to ignore the matter and cut off all his sources of income. The company decided that Wang Zhi was no longer useful and fired him on the spot. Wang Zhi, who had grown accustomed to a life of idleness, was now truly at his wits' end. His former cronies, learning of his misfortune, all distanced themselves from him. He doesn't have enough money to get by. He's about to fall behind on his rent off campus. So he had no choice but to ask me for a loan. I'm no saint, so I turned him down right then and there. He looked at me impassively and said, "If you weren't always one step ahead of me in everything, how could Mom and Dad not value me? It's not that I'm better than you, it's that you gave up on yourself. You're uneducated and ignorant. You listened to slander, and you even stole the company's proposal. Wang Zhi, you have only yourself to blame for all of this. Mom and Dad originally said they'd give you a share of the company and a low-key position so you'd have something to do and earn some money. But what about you? You just think Mom and Dad don't care about you and won't hand the company over to you. Let me ask you this. Do you really think you're capable of running the company? As a member of your own family, you've been spreading rumors and slandering me online. If you're this vicious toward your own family, who do you expect to treat you kindly?" After saying that, I turned and walked away, leaving him no chance to argue. Since Wang Zhi couldn't borrow any money, he sent Wang Jiesin instead, with her big belly sticking out. She stopped me at the school gate and held out her hand toward me. "How can you bear to watch the baby in my belly starve to death? Give me money, or I'll keep pestering you. It's not my kid, what's it to me?" I said pointedly. Wang Jiesin stared at him warily and asked, "What do you mean?" "I don't have a single penny, and even if I did, I wouldn't give you a single penny." I blurted that out quickly and turned to walk away, afraid she might deliberately trip and cause a miscarriage to frame me. Wang Jiesin stood behind me, stomping her feet and shouting, "Just you wait. So what if you were born into a better family than me? What's so great about that?" Because I was afraid Wang Jiesin and Wang Zhi would take revenge on me, I stayed on campus and didn't go out until the break began. Wang Zhi kept texting me asking for money, so I blocked him out of sight. Out of mind. I didn't take a taxi home until the college entrance exams were over, but as soon as I walked in, I saw Wang Zhi and Wang Jiesin sitting on the couch. Lately, without his family's support, Wang Zhi has lost a lot of weight, and his eyes have taken on a dark, hollow look. "Mom and Dad, I'm your own flesh and blood. Are you really going to be so heartless? What exactly am I lacking compared to her?" Wang Zhi's eyes were red. Ever since he started double-crossing us, Mom and Dad have become increasingly cold toward him. Wang Zhi kept pestering them for a long time, but his parents showed no sign of giving in. He gritted his teeth, knelt down on the ground, and said through tears, "I know I've done a lot of wrong things, and there's no way Mom and Dad will ever forgive me again, but I really have no other choice right now. I don't care about the shares, the car, or the house. Just give me a lump sum of money, and I'll never bother you again." My mom's eyes were red, and she glanced at my dad. My dad turned his face away. He neither refused nor agreed. It's certainly a difficult decision to make when it comes to your own son, but in the end, my mom relented and gave Wang Zhi a card. She said earnestly, "You've always been more sensitive and quick-witted than Xiaowei since you were a child. Mom and Dad aren't handing the company over to you because they don't love you, it's because they know your personality well and realize you can't shoulder such a heavy burden." "I know," Wang Zhi said. His head bowed, lost in thought. Wang Jiesin glanced at me, a hint of defiance flashing in her eyes. She's basically relying on Wang Zhi to give her money to spend. But what I don't understand is why Wang Zhi keeps her around when he clearly knows that Wang Jiesin is involved with some small-time thugs. After giving the money to Wang Zhi, he quickly left with Wang Jiesin. "There's 100. 000 yuan in the account, which will last them both for a long time. If they budget carefully, they'll be able to get by just fine. But Wang Ji had long since grown accustomed to a life of luxury, and he and Wang Jiasin quickly squandered the money. Once they ran out of money, neither of them went to work. And Wang Ji even forced Wang Jiaxin, who was pregnant at the time, to film numerous indecent videos to make money. Wang Jiasin had no choice but to do as she was told. On the day she gave birth, she was in excruciating pain at the hospital. Yet Wang Ji was nowhere to be found. She had no money and no one to look after her. So in the end she had no choice but to call over a few small-time thugs. But when the group of small-time thugs found out they had to pay for the surgery, they all made up excuses and slipped away. Wang Jiasin had no choice but to take out an online loan to pay her hospital bill. After staying in the hospital for a few days, she ran out of money and had to leave, tail between her legs. In the video sent by the detective, Wang Jiasin is seen walking down the street while holding her child and crying. She looks pitiful, but she doesn't deserve sympathy. She brought this all on herself. After Wang Ji left her behind, he bought a plane ticket and left the city. When he first found out that Wang Jiasin had cheated on him, Wang Ji didn't leave right away. He did this to lull Wang Jiasin into a false sense of security, so she would give birth to the child. And then he could cut off her support entirely. I had someone check Wang Ji's flight information and discovered that the flight he was on was actually headed for Myanmar. Before he left, he sent my mom a WeChat message, saying he was determined to make something of himself so that his parents would be proud of him. When my mom told me about this, the corners of my mouth curled up slightly without my even realizing it. No one knows that I had someone approach Wang Ji and tell him there were great opportunities in Myanmar. Once he leaves, he won't be coming back. After all, in his previous life, he was one of the straws that broke the camel's back. Some time passed, and Wang Jiasin had made a full recovery. When she went out for a walk again, the child was no longer in her arms. I'm a little curious, could it be that some street thugs snatched her away? She acted as if nothing had happened, going out to drink bubble tea, eat barbecue, and hang out with a bunch of small-time hoodlums. My detective only conducts surveillance during the day, so for the time being, I have no way of knowing where exactly she took the child. Wang Jiasin seems to have come into some money. She's been eating out for several days in a row, buying lots of nice clothes, and hitting up nightclubs and bars. I hadn't seen my child for several days in a row, and I had a bad feeling about it. I had the detective follow her closely and was surprised to find that there was no sign of the child at her address either. The small-time thugs who usually hang out with her have been secretly tagging along with her lately. So there's no way she could be taking care of a child. So, she must have given the child away or maybe killed it. I was a little scared, but I couldn't be sure of anything. I certainly couldn't go tell the police that I was watching her. After thinking it over, I went back and found the posts she had made earlier spreading rumors about me. He even took time off work to go home and file a lawsuit against her. Wang Jiasin came to me and, clearly furious, demanded, "How long ago was that? What's the point of suing me now?" "Are you scared?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. Wang Jiasin stared intently at me and chuckled. "You actually have the nerve to sue me. Your brother ran off right after I gave birth to our child. What a coward. Don't you know if it's his child? It's your brother's child. Don't even think about denying it," Wang Jiasin said loudly. Her remark hit the nail on the head. I said, "What about the child? Since it's my brother's child, it's a child of the Wang family. Hand the child over. The child is mine. Why should I hand him over? Is your family even worthy of having a child?" A flicker of panic crossed Wang Jiasin's eyes. Something was clearly wrong. I became even more convinced that something must have happened to the child. "Hand over the child," I said, raising my voice and staring at her impassively. Wang Jiasin swallowed hard, and her confidence wavered slightly. "The child is staying with my friend. I have no experience taking care of children, so I let my friend look after him. Since your family won't take him in, what else can I do? How dare you let someone else take care of my child?" I pulled out my phone and immediately called the police. Wang Jiasin tried to grab the phone, but it was already too late. The private investigator I'd hired rushed out and restrained her. I immediately called the police and waited at the scene for them to arrive. The police arrived and took us to the police station. I pointed at Wang Jessen and said, "Officer, I suspect she's hiding my brother's child." "I didn't," Wang Jessen hurriedly protested. "So tell me, where did my brother go? Where did the child go?" I asked. Wang Jessen said, "My brother ran away. He didn't want to take responsibility. He left the very day I gave birth. As for the baby, he's staying with a friend of mine. I don't know how to take care of a baby. I just asked her to help out for a while." "Officer, I have reasonable grounds to suspect that she has sold the child. She keeps saying the child is my brother's. Yet she also says the child is with a friend. Her statements are contradictory. I request that she hand over the child." "You're talking nonsense," Wang Jessen said, starting to panic a little. The police officer also realized the seriousness of the situation and asked her, "Ma'am, where is the child?" I Wang Jessen stammered. The police officer said sternly, "Where is the child? Please tell us the truth." "I gave the child to a friend." Wang Jessen grew even more flustered. The police subdued her and forced her to reveal the child's whereabouts. It turns out that Wang Jessen sold the child to a couple for 30,000 yuan. When the police found them, the couple was feeding their baby, knowing that their child was going to be taken away. The couple was heartbroken, but since the transaction was illegal, they had no choice but to comply. Wang Jessen was mistakenly arrested. After an investigation, it was conclusively proven that she trafficked children and spread false rumors and slander. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Wang Jessen had no way to deny the charges. She was ultimately sentenced to 7 years in prison for multiple offenses, including child trafficking and defamation. The moment the verdict was handed down, Wang Jessen slumped in her chair. What awaits her is a cold prison and endless remorse. After the child underwent a DNA test with our family, it was confirmed that she was not Wang Ji's child. Wang Jessen's family was also unable to take on the responsibility of raising another child. So in the end, the child was sent to an orphanage to await adoption by a kind-hearted family. With tears in my eyes, I went to the police station and asked them to help me find my brother, Wang Ji. They eventually tracked down his last known location, in a small mountain village in Myanmar. The police officer regretfully told me that cross-border investigations are difficult to begin with, let alone in an industrial park like the one in Myanmar. I covered my mouth, afraid I might laugh out loud. Wang Ji will never know that the person who promised to take him to Myanmar to make a fortune was someone I found in a past life. He caused my parents and me to die a horrible death. How could I possibly let him off the hook in this life? My dear brother, I'm afraid he may never come back. On the day Wang Jessen was sent to prison, I went to see her. Her hair was cut short. She was wearing a prison uniform, and she looked completely lifeless. "You're pretty smug, aren't you?" She glared at me. I nodded. "Yeah, I'm really proud of it." "Humph. I'll get out of here sooner or later." Wang Jessen snorted coldly. She's just trying to comfort herself right now. 7 years later, although he was only 24 when he was released, life in prison was enough to change a person. And society had continued to evolve. By the time she came out, the world had already changed beyond recognition. Wang Jessen asked coldly, "Did you come here to laugh at me?" "That's right. You could have studied hard to change your fate. Why take the easy way out?" I asked. Wang Jessen was silent for a moment, then said, "Do you really think going to school can change your destiny? But I had to scrape together every penny just to pay for my education. Why won't you support me? You have so much money, even a small amount would be more than enough for me to live comfortably." As she spoke these words, her eyes were red, and she seemed genuinely moved by the unfairness of fate. But fate is, after all, unfair. Blaming others and the world, and deluding yourself into thinking there are shortcuts in the end, you're just tying your own hands. She was complaining when she suddenly looked up at me. "I had a dream the other day where you sponsored me." And then, I curved my lips into a smile. Her voice gradually grew quieter. "Then, because I was jealous of you, I started smearing you and slandering you online, which led to my fans killing you. That's the story of the farmer and the snake, I said. Wang Jesin defended herself, saying, but that was just a dream. What if all of that really happened? I stared intently at her, and a flicker of fear crossed her eyes. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I ignored Wang Jesin, stood up, and walked out, leaving her alone in that dim prison cell. After Wang Ji went to Myanmar, we completely lost contact with him. My mom cries her eyes out every day, and even though my dad has pulled some strings, he still can't find out where he is. No sign of the person while alive. No body found after death. I went to the police station with my parents many times, looking for my older brother, but all of them came up empty-handed. One late night, I sat by my mother's side, watching her sleep. Her cell phone suddenly rang. It was a call from an overseas number. As soon as the call connected, Wang Ji cried out, his voice choked with tears. Mom, help me. I want to go home. I curved my lips into a slight smile and said, sorry, that's not me. After saying that, I hung up, blocked the number, and deleted the call log. My dear brother, once you're gone, don't come back. Before I knew it, I had graduated from college and started an internship at a company. My abilities were exceptional, and I quickly earned the board's approval and began gradually learning to take over the company. My parents retired and handed the company over to me completely. Now they spend their free time traveling all over, hoping to find Wang Ji, but it was all in vain. Only I knew that Wang Ji would never return. He will pay a heavy price for his actions. From time to time, I check in on Wang Jesin to see how she's doing in prison. She's such a manipulative woman even in prison. She keeps trying to use the same tricks she uses on men on the female prison boss. But the female boss saw right through her, and she was beaten so badly that she ran off with her hands over her head. In such an environment, Wang Jesin grew increasingly thin, her bones protruding. He died suddenly of an illness less than 2 years later. I felt a twinge of regret when I heard the news of her death. It was all a bit too swift. After eliminating all my enemies, I devoted myself even more fully to the company, and within a few years, I had built it into a thriving business. Mom and Dad stopped insisting on looking for Wang Ji and decided to just let things take their natural course. 1 year. When I took my company's employees on a team-building trip to Southeast Asia, I saw a person whose limbs had been cut off and who was sealed inside a jar. He looked a lot like Wang Ji. When he saw me, he made excited "bubba" sounds. And that's when I realized he had no tongue. Seeing how excited he was, one of the employees asked me what he was saying. I shook my head and smiled. I don't know him.